What an honor to be here today, Bill. When we talk about adversity, as I was telling you, I feel like your name ought to be on the Webster description of adversity. So I've got Bill Goodwin here with me. Priority Living Consulting is your company, and I'll tell you what, guys. If once you hear Bill's story, it is an amazing story, Bill, and I thank you for just willing to talk about it. It's been what a story. Tell us a little bit about your company, and then we'll get into your story a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So Priority Living Consulting, I started 4 years ago, and really it's all about adding value, and it's really focused around leadership development. So I'm a part of Maxwell Leadership with John Maxwell, and so I'm really passionate about developing leaders and helping people in their personal development and also in their business be able to be most successful. So that's what we come alongside and do a variety of professional speaking. I facilitate workshops as well as coaching cohorts, as well as one-on-one coaching.
Well, that's awesome. Maxwell Leadership is, the top of the line on that.
Yeah,
what a great organization that is, and it's really cool that you're part of that. When we say Bill Goodwin, tell us a little bit about that adversity that you went through, because we talk about, from my point, is the no option approach, right? And you've definitely had some points in life where there was no options, and what a great story. If you don't mind, would you share a little bit about what you went through?
I would be honored to share it. This story that I'm about to share took place just over 25 years ago, which is, for me, it feels like a blink of an eye. When I share it, it takes me right back to that moment. So it was November 23rd, 1999. It was a Tuesday, 2 days before Thanksgiving. I was living with my family. We lived in Arizona at the time, and I was a youth pastor at a large mega church. And that particular morning, I was driving to our church staff meeting, but on the way, I took our little family dog at the time to the groomers, and just to drop the dog off on my way. And I was standing in the groomers longer than I had anticipated, and an asthma attack started, giving me trouble breathing. And so I came out of the groomers, and I grabbed a little inhaler, and I took the inhaler, and began to realize real quick that I'm not getting relief. And so I kind of panicked, like, what do I do? And so I drove home to my house, a short distance away, and as my garage door was going up and I went in through the garage door, with the little air I had left, I just called out, "Jesus, help me, Jesus." And I was recognizing that this was one of the most severe asthma attacks I've ever experienced, and of course it came on unexpectedly. And so as I went into my house, I grabbed my nebulizer machine, put some saline in there. I was shaking on my knees there in the family room, trying to put the saline in the nebulizer machine. And I called out to my daughter, who at the time was 13. She was on a Thanksgiving break from school. My wife had gone out to run some errands, so she wasn't home. And I told my daughter to call 911, which she did. Say she's my little angel, saved my life that day.
Sure.
Because this asthma attack was so severe that I wasn't getting any relief, not only from that inhaler, but even from the nebulizer machine. And a short time later, the paramedics arrived. Fire truck came, paramedics, and they came in and gave me a mask to put over my nose and mouth. And within a very short time, I blacked out in my family room. And so what happened at that moment was 9.5 hours later, in the physical, I woke up in ICU in the hospital. I don't remember going in the ambulance. I don't remember being in the ER, but all I know is I woke up in the ambulance. And somewhere in there, I believe it was more towards the beginning of when I went unconscious, I had my life kind of pass before me, and time with my wife, time with my children, and then I had this most incredible thing, and kind of applies right to what your focus is all about, no options. I was unconscious, but I remember having the thought, I'm going to die, and there's nothing I can do about it. Talk about having no options.
Absolutely.
I'm unconscious, and my life's passing before me, and I have the thought, I'm going to die, and there's nothing I can do about it. And just at that moment, I felt something I've never felt before since I felt my spirit and my flesh in a struggle. And I had the thought, I'm going to die. There's nothing I can do about it. And my spirit, boom, leaves my body. And in a moment, I was in heaven. And my spirit, your spirit, it is the essence of who we are. It's not our physical body, but our spirit makes up the essence of who we are. And in our spirit, we have the ability, all of our senses. We can see, we can hear, we can talk, we can feel. All of our senses are present with our spirit. So here I am, boom, my spirit leaves my body, and I'm in heaven. You want to know what I experience in heaven? Most people do.
For sure. I think everybody would like to know that one, right, Bill?
That's right. So as far as I could see, as high as I could see, as wide as I could see, there were thousands upon thousands of angels. The angels that I experienced, they are far more beautiful than how we depict what an angel looks like here on earth. And as most people have heard from other near-death experiences, the light is so unbelievably bright, brighter than the sun. It's so bright, but it doesn't hurt your eyes. You don't need sunglasses. It's so bright. And those angels parted, and there in the distance, I saw Jesus Christ in a white robe, and he was coming towards me with his arms outstretched like this.
Oh, wow.
And as we were getting closer to one another, the angels everywhere, the light is so bright, and the light is, I would describe it as, it's the glory of God. That light of heaven is radiating from Jesus himself. It is filled with all authority, all power, all love, like the most pure love. And Jesus is coming towards me. The light is so bright, his arms are outstretched. And as he's coming towards me, like I said, I can see, I can hear, everything. And I speak to him. And I say to Jesus, take care of Carla. Carla's my wife. Now, that's so significant to me to be back and tell this story to others, because I need to pause from my heaven story. I'll come back to it. But my first thing I said was take care of Carla, which is so amazing to me. Yeah, of course, I want the Lord to take care of my loved ones. Mm-hmm. But this to me was so significant because our backstory is 2 years before my wife and I met, she was married and had 2 small children, and her first husband, Dave, was killed in an accident at work. And so I've often wondered, since this time in this encounter, could have her first husband, could have his words been, take care of my family, something like that? Which has led me to believe the thought of how many of us have loved ones who have passed, and our name was on their lips when they stood before Jesus. And that things that have taken place in our life, protection, things that have happened in our life, are because of not only just the prayers of others, but the actual face-to-face encounter with Jesus saying our name. Wow. And so anyway, so back to my encounter in heaven. So I say to Jesus, take care of Carla. And he says to me, no, not no, I won't take care of her. He says, no, it's not your time. The word that Jesus used is so interesting. He said, I will increase your anointing, which basically means I will increase my presence, Jesus' presence in my life. And when Jesus said that to me, it was like as if the light was still so bright, didn't lose the light at all, but he moved back, or I moved back, and the angels went like this, swarming. And then I was out of heaven, and I was back in my body. And so I wake up, this encounter, I don't know, there's no sense of time in heaven. There's no sense of time. But in the natural, I do know that when I was in the ER, I don't remember it, but when I was in the ER, there were 6 of the medical team where I'd become combative, having lost my air, and they were holding me down to try to intubate me and put me in a medical-induced coma. Mm-hmm. And I had lost all bodily function, and I coded at that moment. And then they were able to revive me, resuscitate me, and then they were able to intubate me. So I know that from a medical team member who told me that had taken place that very night. So I wake up in ICU, my hands were strapped to the bed, intubated. My wife's standing next to the bed, and I'm rattling my hands. They unstrap me. They give me a clipboard to talk or to write, and I write. The first words I write is, "I saw Jesus." My wife is standing over me. Oh, and as I write, I saw Jesus, tears just streaming down my face.
Oh.
And my wife says, "You saw Jesus. Is he beautiful?" And then I wrote, "I'm totally fine. I want to go home. Take this tube out of my mouth." And so sometime later that night, they did take out the trach tube, and I told the medical team coming in, I saw Jesus. They're telling me, "You're a miracle. You were revived in the ER." And I said, "Well, I saw Jesus. Like, I'm totally fine now." So that encounter on November 23rd, 1999. This is kind of bringing it all full circle to today in 2025. I realized right away that as we say, our life is a gift. Every day, is a gift. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. And so I began at the short time after that of thinking about, how do I make my life count? I've been given a second chance. How do I make my life count? And so I didn't call it this at the time, but over the years I developed these pillars of priority living. And that's why I named my company Priority Living. And so now I just finished the manuscript to a book that's coming out called Priority Living, 7 Pillars to Maximize Every Day to make your life, to have your life make a splash. So I'm really excited to share with others not only my encounter in heaven, to encourage them, give them hope, sure, even when you have no way out. There's good things in store for us beyond this life, but also to know that there's these 7 pillars, at least that have been helpful for me, and I want to share them with others that they might consider applying these 7 pillars to make the most of their life and therefore live priority living.
Wow. Well, Bill, what an amazing story. I mean, just to be able to talk to someone that has experienced that, and then for you to be able to share that with us. Now, if people are trying to hear more about this, about your company, how do they find you? Where's somewhere that they could find you at?
Sure. Thanks for asking. I'm on social media channels. They can find me on LinkedIn and so on. But my website is PriorityLivingCG.com. That stands for Consulting Group. So it's PriorityLivingCG.com, or I can be emailed at bill@PriorityLivingCG.com. People can reach out to me there. Find me on LinkedIn, just under my name, Bill Goodwin. And but yeah, I'd love to connect with someone if they have questions about faith, if they have questions about afterlife or heaven, or questions about leadership and professional development. I'd love to come alongside and partner with people. And by the way, one of those pillars, which is the first pillar, is discover your purpose. I absolutely believe Mark Twain's quote when he said, "There's 2 greatest days in your life, is the day you were born and the day you discovered why." And that's all about purpose. So that's one of the pillars, and is to come alongside people to discover their purpose.
That's amazing, and I'm very anxious to read your book as well.
Yeah.
And I would encourage everyone to please go out and be looking for Bill's book to be coming out. As you guys just heard, what an amazing story. And I mean, it brought tears to my eyes, Bill, just listen to this. And so thank you again for sharing, and we look forward to your book.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you
Appreciate
for that opportunity.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Take care.